Okay, so in the problem of true or false, number 2, we have the domain of f of x, negative 1 over x plus 2 is a set of real numbers except for x is equal to negative 2. So, to prove that the problem is true or false, we need to know which is the whole, and to get the whole, you need to write x plus 2 equals 0, and this gives you x equals negative 2. So the domain will be all real numbers except negative 2, because you don't have to count that number, and it makes the problem a true statement.
In the section of true-false of our quiz, we want to make this problem, which is asking if this function has the whole in its coordinate 3 and 3/2. To know if this is true or false, first you need to factorize the function, which will result in once you have it factorized, you need to look at it and see what you have in common and scratch it out. So this is what you are going to base on to see if you have the whole. You have x minus 3, but you need to equal it to 0 and change the sign so it will result in x equals 3. And that is one part of the coordinate, which up to now we have it true. And then to see if the next part of the coordinate is true, you need to take the other part of the factorization, the ones that you didn't use, which means this one, and then replace it with the x and subtract or add, depending on the problem. So if here we have 3, you add 3 plus 3 and 3 plus 1, which means 6 and 4. And if you simplify it, it will be 3 and 2, which is 3/2. And if we have it, we can see that in this part is a 3 and in this part is a 3/2. So this is true.
Okay, so I'm going to explain the question number 1 of procedure from the quiz number 3. And we have this function, which is 2x squared minus 5x plus 2 over 2x squared minus 2x minus 3. And the first step is to simplify or factorize this, and we're going to have so this is a piecewise function, and whenever we have this repeating, we have to cancel that out and eliminate, because that will be our x coordinate, like the coordinate, the x part, that's going to be that. So here we have a part of the coordinate of the whole, which is 2, because x minus 2 equals 0, so x will be 2, and that's going to be here. Then whenever we have that, we have to find the y of the coordinate. So we substitute the 2 in our equation here. So we're going to have 2, and the x will be 2 right here, minus 1 over 2 plus 3, which will give us 4 minus 1, which is 3, over 4 plus 3, which is 7. And 3 over 7 will equal 0.4. So that's going to be our y for the coordinate of the whole. So we have the whole, and I'm going to graph it. It's going to be 1, 2, and 0.4.
zona.
So now we're gonna figure out the vertical asymptote, and to find the vertical asymptote, you have to equal 0, but like your x is gonna equal 0, and for the denominator. So you're gonna have 2x plus 3 equals 0. So we have 2x equals negative 3, x equals negative 3 halves. And that's gonna be our vertical. Now to find the horizontal asymptote, we have to look at the coefficient for the x. And our formula is that we have the same one. And so if we have the same one, it's going to be a over b. And a and b are the coefficients. So it's going to be 2 over 2, which equals 1. So that's going to be the horizontal. Okay, so now we're going to figure out the x-intercept and the y-intercept. And to figure out the x-intercept, we're going to equal this parenthesis to 0, the numerator. So it's going to be 2x minus 1 equals 0, which is 2x equals 1, x equals 1 half. So that's going to be our x-intercept. Okay, so to figure out the y-intercept, we're going to have our function equaling 0. So whenever we have our x, it's going to be 0. So here we have 0, 0, 0, 0. So we're left with 2 with a negative sign. So that's going to simplify to negative 1/3. So our y-intercept is negative 1/3. Okay, so now we have to graph and place our important information over here. The vertical asymptote is x equals negative 3 halves, which is right here. This line is the dotted line. The horizontal asymptote is y equals 1. So we graph it over here. Our x-intercept is 1 half, and it's this point right here. The y-intercept is negative 1/3, which is this point right here. And the coordinate of the whole, which is 2. And 0.4. So we do the line. And we do the line here as well. And that's how your graph's gonna look like. Now we can figure out the domain and the range. Since we have our graph. The domain is going to be all row numbers, because as you can see, expressed out to both sides to infinite. But we have to take into account that the 2 cannot touch, and as well as all this part of the graph, because there's nothing there. So x is not equal to negative 3 halves and 2. And as well as the range, it's going to be over numbers because it goes up to infinity, both sides, but it cannot touch 1 or 0.4 as well.
Sacarás de cuenta algo, multiplicó por lo primero te va a dar lo primero, y lo multiplicó por lo segundo te va a dar 6. Por ejemplo, ahí sacas un 3 porque los dos tienen como un 3.
So with that, you can have all your information that is
in the section number 2 of the quiz, in the problem number 3, we have to evaluate each of the f of x and know which function of these ones belongs to each one of these. So to know which function belongs to f negative 6, we have to know where negative 6 is included in one of these functions. Negative 6 is included in the first function, so negative 6 to the square minus 1 equals 36 minus 1 equals 35. On the next one, f negative 3 is included in the second function, so we don't have to substitute because we don't have an x. So f negative 3 equals 5. In f1 is included on the second function, so we don't need to solve anything, so we write f1 equals 5. f4 belongs to the second equation. So as the same in the before two, we only write f4 equals 5. And in the last one, f8 belongs to the last function, so we substitute f8 plus 2, and that's 32 plus 2, and equals 34. Now we already evaluate all these f of x's.